Here we are. This is the main plant for Ceado. We have all the offices, sales, administration, marketing, and we have production. This is the finishing part for the grinders. This is where we assemble everything together. We test and we pack and we ship. But there are other interesting parts of the company that I want to show you that are linked to the other place where we were, because here is where it starts and where it ends at the same time.
Let's go.
Okay, so this is our production line. As you can tell, it's a lot quieter than the other place. This is where we assemble all the parts together. So we have these little trolleys that are equipped with everything we need to make. So every component we need to finish and assemble the grinder is loaded, preloaded here, based on the production schedule. So we don't keep stock of grinders usually, because there are many versions, many different voltages and requirements for certifications. But what we do is we feed one of these and then we move them in the production lines. Production lines have a screen that tells the operator what they need to do. All the tools are there, and then everyone here is equipped and is trained to basically manufacture anything that we do. So they're all interchangeable. Here we're making a Zibarista right now from scratch, so you can see how we're assembling the different parts here. Every station is manufacturing. Here we're making the Leon grinders right now. These are all the bodies ready to go, all the motors that go on the Leon grinders. Let's move towards the end of the production lines. I'll show you a couple of things that I think are interesting. Okay, these are the buongiorno. We saw this part being made. Actually, this is the Rev Titan. I can see it from the birds at the top. You can see how the motor is attached, the suspension. These are silent blocks that allow it they avoid vibration. And you see our grinders wobble a bit when they operate because of these. This is the suspension system for the grinder.
Casing on the top as well.
Yeah, so you can see, people think sometimes they're broken, but they're not. They're just avoiding vibration to transfer to the body to reduce noise. Ciao, buongiorno. Buongiorno. And so here is where we make all the different grinders. Here you can see is where we have all the motors pre-assembled for the different grinder models. Some motors will be, these are the motors that we use to transfer. This is the shaft that rotates to transfer the movement on the Rev series. So that's a different design from the other motors that we have. This way we separate the burrs from the motor, so no heat from the motor is transferred on the burrs. And these are all the different motors that we use. This is again, these are all ready to be installed on Rev Titans. A pretty interesting phase that we have in Ceado is this. Buongiorno, ciao.
Buongiorno.
Stai installando la parte superiore. Here is what we do, a special thing. What we take is the top of the motors here and we shave it in order to bring it in the same tolerance of the burrs. Because you can have a burr that is 3/10 of a millimeter of tolerance, but then you might have the housing or the support that has a much wider tolerance, and the precision of the burr kind of is useless if the part on which it sits is not as flat or within the same margin of error. So basically what we do is we use this area to shave off, and what the guy there is doing is measuring the two parts together to basically make sure that are within the same range. Here is where we have all the screws and everything, all the small components that go into the grinders. This area is basically where we keep all the parts that we need for production. So we feed the production from here. And at the very end, we have where it all starts in a way, which is the tooling machines that we use to make the molds. Ciao, buongiorno. We keep making designs for the different parts. Right now, this is the tray. We're building the tray that is used inside the E37. So when we start the production, we use a mold that is sort of a sand mold, where we make the first batches just to make sure that we got it together right industrially. and then we manufacture our own in order to save on the cost and have a more precise tooling. Okay, see, this is the mold. Questo cos'è? Il supporto del becco? Cos'è? So this mold is to make this. This is the support for the exit of the chute for the grinder. This is another part of the grinder. This is the WEM, which is the weight adjustment module. You saw pieces of it, the support here that was being manufactured in the other plant, where this was the cover for the load cell. This is the structure that gives rigidity and precision to it. And these are the electronics at the back. There is a plug here. You can just unscrew the normal, which will be this version. This will be the normal one. You can unscrew the normal activation with portafilter when you buy a Rev series grinder by time, which is a very normal feature. So portafilter touches this, the grinder starts. This has connectors at the back. You can remove with 4 screws this. Inside the grinder, there is another cable that connects to this. 4 screws, and you transform your grinder from a grind by time into a grind by weight grinder. So the Rev series are completely modular for that reason. Okay, so these are the parts you've seen in production being assembled or manufactured. One part that was sort of missing, sort of to get the full picture, is this. So here we have a red material that insulates, that does 2 things. It prevents the heat from transferring along the shaft from the motor to the burrs, because the burrs are here where you see this hole, so at this height, and the motor is here. So there are at least 3 centimeters that separate the motor from the burrs. And that prevents the heat from the motor to go on the burrs. We do that also thanks to this piece that is removable. But this also works a bit like an expansion, not a shock absorber, yes. So when burrs work a lot and they produce heat with the friction, they tend to expand and getting closer to each other. What this does, this that compensates the same distance on the other direction. So basically burrs stay always at the same distance, no matter how much you work with these grinders. And this is important because this is an active system to manage granulometry in the grinder. Here you see how this is the top of the motor, so you can see the full picture. So now what I'm doing, this is the bottom part of the shaft, this is the top part of the shaft. So what we're doing here is we're putting it here, and now this is how the movement is transferred. At the bottom here, there is a fan that sucks the air from the top in, air circulation, and out, gets expelled. We even have a warning on our grinders that tells you when you need to clean the filter at the back of the grinder, which is through 4 screws, clean the filter, put it back, to prevent any dust or anything being sucked inside the grinder. So it's a pretty sophisticated system that manages many things at once. So, and this is the final product. You got the Rev Titan and Rev Steel. Here is the combo of all the work you've seen happens here. The magic of that fluffy coffee, precise weight, always consistently giving you the flavor desired in the cup. More body, more balance, and soon the Rev Zero with more clarity.